Hello, it's me, and the reason why you see me with this V-Cube 7 by 7 by 7 7-layer puzzle is because a viewer had a request, actually, had a question. He was solving the 7-layer in a very interesting fashion. His question was how to solve, or how to at least do the last layer of a layer by layer solve. Now, it's not what you think it is. When I do a layer by layer, you're probably thinking of what I do with a 3 by 3 with this kind of cheap version over here. Basically, you do the bottom layer, then you do the middle layer, then the top layer. That's the classic beginner's method for a 3 by 3. Well, is it possible to do the same thing with a 7 by 7? Well, usually when I solve a 7 by 7 or any big cube is we'll reduce the centers, then we'll reduce the edges, meaning we place all the centers, we place all the edges, and then we just solve it like a 3 by 3. Then we do our layer by layer that way. What about doing each layer individually? This one, then this one, then this, and this, without doing center reduction at the start? Well, what this particular viewer's question was is he had done that, but he had questions on the last layer. So what I thought I would do is go through my way of doing a layer by layer solve of a 7-layer puzzle. Now, usually when I get a request, and if it's like a larger layer version, I'll start off with say a small layer version, maybe not the 3 by 3 but a 4 by 4. Do a layer by layer by that, then a layer by layer with 5 by 5, 6 by 6, and kind of work my way up with a 7 by 7, showing how the strategy builds. Well, out of respect and deference to the particular request, it would take a long time before I finally got to the video that he's waiting for, which is the 7 layer, thinking that maybe the earlier layers, like by the time I got to the 5 layer, it would serve the purpose of illustrating the point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dive right into a layer by layer with the 7-layer puzzle, and if there's further requests for earlier ones, then I can do that, but I think you can apply the techniques that I'm going to be using with the 7-layer puzzle with any other layers therein. Now here's the good news. There isn't really going to be any new algorithms. To those that have been following the tutorials that I've been doing, the videos that I've been doing, you'll be able to recognize a lot of the videos, a lot of the algorithms that I'll be using, but I use nothing new. So just kind of visualize what I'm doing first. So let me demonstrate that concept again using something that might be easier to visualize. Let's say we have this over here. Now this is a way of taking little centerpieces and putting them anywhere around the puzzle that you want. I want to line this up to where I want it to go, put it over here. So lining this up over here, I'm just going to put it in place. I put it in place with this plane and I created this bar. Bump it out of the way over here, this bar out of the way, and just bring it down. Now what I'm going to do is put back everything that I just took out. I'm going to reverse everything. So now I'm going to bring this back up and move this back up. That was the first thing that I did. So move it back up. Now that I've done that, I'm going to take this thing that I created and put it back over here. So do another turn over here, move it back up, and then turn it back. Okay, so if you need an algorithm to that, then I'll do that too. So let's get this back in that same configuration that we had before. Okay, so let's say we wanted to do that. If you want to put an algorithm to what I just did, then take a look at what side you're on. If you're on the left side of the fault line, so to speak, then position this right above where it's supposed to be. And because we're on the left side, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to use this as L, and the opposite area that we move it to is going to be the R. So move this down, do L, F, and now this is going to be our R over here, RI, FI, F, R, FI. Okay, then we can move this back. All right, so you can go ahead and do that algorithm that I just did. Anything that's on this side, on the left side, any of these little pieces that have to come anywhere to here, you do that exact algorithm. What about the right side? Okay, so here's something that you can see. This is out, and I want to place this over here. This is on the right side. So position this over here, and this is just the opposite. So just be aware of what your R's and what your L's are. So go ahead and move this down. So we're going to be doing a RI, Fi, L, F, R, Fi, Li, F, and then just move this back. So that's how you can do that. So that's the right-sided version and left-sided version. Now understand, it could be any one of these. The only thing that you have to keep in mind, the only thing that's going to be up to you to remember is what's going to be your R and what's going to be your L. And that's going to depend upon the layers that you're dealing with. If it was here, here, or here, let's say it's this one, this is going to, this segment here is going to be the L. And if you're coming up over here, then this is going to be the R. All right, so that's going to be up to you. Now, after a while, I would encourage you not to do an algorithm with this. Get an intuitive sense with that, but that's how you're going to work your way through here. The other algorithm that you're going to need to know, I'm going to demonstrate on this. And that's going to be an algorithm that moves edge pieces here down to here. Now you can see there's different flavors of edge pieces, different positions that they go on. But here's the two algorithms. Let's say I have this over here, and I want to move this down to here. So you can see this yellow and this red over here. To move it to the left side, you do UI, LI, U, L, U, F, UI, Fi, and that brings it over to there. That's if it's on the left side. Now what if it's on the right side? Let's say this has to come down to here. Well, it's just the opposite of that. So that's going to be UR, UI, RI, UI, FI, UF. And that'll bring that over to there. So that's a very simple way of going from here to here without messing up the bottom. Now from time to time, you're going to have to do something a little different, in which case we have a slightly different algorithm. So let's say you wanted to do the same thing. We wanted to move this down to the right side, but for whatever reason we can't do that same algorithm. We've seen this before in certain puzzles where you can't do a move like this is bandaged, or this is bandaged. Now I would refer you back to my Witt-Eden circle cube, where you had a circle on the top and the circle on the bottom, and you found that there were certain moves that were bandaged and you couldn't do. So because of that, if I couldn't do a R move or an L move, I had to modify things. So here's how you do it. Here's another algorithm to do the same thing, and this is the kind of algorithm if you have some kind of restrictions. But if it's on the left side, the left side to come down over here, or it can be the right side. In this algorithm, you don't have where you want to come down in front of you. You have it to the left or to the right. If it's to the left, the other way of doing it, which will accomplish the same thing, is you do on the left side, Li to U, L, UI, Li to U, L. You see that brings that here. Then you do 2U, Li, U, L. And that brings that down there. So same kind of thing. Now let's say we want to do it from the other angle. So now we have this has to come down to here. And for whatever reason, you don't want to do the previous one that put this on the front side. The other algorithm is you hold this to the right, and we just do the right-sided version of that. Same kind of thing. In this case, it's going to be R to U, RI. U, R to U, RI. Puts that there. To U, R, UI, RI. And now that's over there. I'm going to call the set of edge moving algorithms algorithm 1, and I'm going to do the second set that I showed, algorithm 2. Algorithm 1 was the first one that's used in the beginner's method. Algorithm 2 can be used for certain puzzles that are that have bandaging or circle. Notice that when I did this, the only moves that I did was this move and this move. I only did R's and U's, And on the left-sided version, I only did L's and U's. The other one that moved it over here, I had to do R's, L's, U's, and F's. So if you ever ended up bandaged on one side, you can do algorithm number 2. That's all you need to know except for one other thing, and that's how to get through the last layer. And I'm going to save that description for the very end. So let's go ahead and scramble this guy and see how we can solve this using those strategies, just those algorithms, with a layer-by-layer solve. So, abracadabra. Okay, there we go. Is there anything more fascinating or beautiful than a scrambled 7x7? And there's something about a scrambled V-cube that is always very hearkening, because this was the first 7-layer puzzle that most of us saw. We never saw any of the other versions because this was it, and it was fascinating. The first time I saw this advertised, I thought it was a joke. It looked like a pillow. It probably was a pillow. I was fascinated to see that no, it's actually a fully functional twisty puzzle. Anyway, so layer by layer solve. So the first thing that we're going to do is the bottom layer. Let's go ahead and start with the green. I usually do. First thing we're going to do is we're just going to put in the centers here. So that's what we would do normally. And do this the way you do any other 7x7. I'm kind of assuming that you know how to solve a 7-layer doing the reduction method. But just in case not, what I do is I'm just going to make 1 by 5 bars. Starting off with what's in the middle, which will make it easier to visualize. This comes here, this goes here, this comes down here. So I've got a 1 by 5 bar, and now I can just start assembling them from the top here. So nothing really new about this. See if I can make this make sense. And what I'm doing is I'm making use of the various layers to put the puzzle in. So I want to move this in without affecting this. Of course, I could just turn it to the side here. More and more, though, as I'm solving the puzzle, I'm having less and less sides available to me to use. And then find one that I can use for this. Okay, so here's another bar over here. I simply move it in. So the first side is pretty easy. There's no huge challenges. Next one is I can do this layer over here. I'm just creating 1 by 3 bars. This is all based on positioning, and there's nothing too tricky about this. Okay, this is in. I'll simply move it in. Now next, we've got this. Looks like most of that's already done. Turn this over here so I can turn this down. And again, this is just a matter of positioning. Okay, now I want to get this over to here, but I don't want to destroy anything here. Here's what you're going to have to get used to doing. Moving something in, I moved it in this plane, then turning it out of the way and moving what I just turned in out so I can put this back in. All right, this is probably pretty simple to those who've done this before, so I want to get this into here without destroying this. So what I would do is just move it into place, create that bar that I talked about, then bump it out of the way, and then in that same plane, move back that which I put in, which is this. I don't even have to think about how I brought it out, as long as I just keep moving it back. Now I'm going to take this and move it into position. Okay, I'm just going to bring this up because really, we just have a few more to go. All right, putting this in here. And again, if this is completely new to you, you're going to have to play around with your puzzle more in order to get this, because this is pretty much done, quote, intuitively. Now, intuitively means that algorithms would be a waste of time to go through. You don't want algorithms with every aspect of what you do. This was moved in, take this bar, move it out of the way, so I can move back what I took out. See? Piece of cake. And now this has to come in. But I'm not going to be able to do it from here, so I'm just going to move this all the way out. And now I can take this and move it into here. There's my bar, and turn. Okay, Now, good news is, well, whether it's good news or bad news, but that's the last time we do it this way. Normally what I would do with my 7-layer solve is I put all these other centers in and then reduce the edges. But that's not how we're going to do it this time. So now that we've done that, we're going to want to put in our corners, or our edges rather. So we're going to do reduction of edges by pretty much how you've probably done it by the reduction method. Let's do the red and green. Find all the other red and greens that are out there. Here's this over here, and all I've got to do is just match them up. So this is in. This part's fairly easy, goes fairly quickly. Find the other ones. Here's one over here. So I'm just going to move that down. Now because there's no other edges that are in, I have complete choice as to how I move this. Now, I'm not going to move it in like this because that's going to be something of a placement issue. Something of a parity. Well, not really parity, more placement. But anyway, move this on into here. And now what? Here's another one over here. Wrong side. Double turn and bring it in. Now I have just one more over here. Right over here. Right in front of me. Move it into position, move it into the right position, and bring it in. Okay, so we've got this reduced just by placement. So let's move this up and put it in. And we might as well put this by the proper center. This is the proper center over here. So now let's see what's next. Well, I already have 2 of these in here, so let's move this down into ready position and get all the blue and reds from here. So to those who have attempted this, this is probably not the hard part. Well, actually blue and red, we're just doing green. My apologies. Why don't we do the orange and green? So let's find all of the orange and greens and movement. Here's an orange and green over here, so we can move this up, move it in. Any other orange and greens that jump out at me? This one. So we can bring this in and move this in. So pretty quickly you're going to be able to do this pretty well. Right over here. See? Told you it was right in front of me. And turn. Once I have that in, I'm going to move this in at about the place that it's supposed to be. So now this is in. This goes with this center over here. So what else do we have? We're not going to do this. We're not at that layer yet. So I'm going to ignore it. Why don't we do white? Here's a white over here. I'm just going to bump this in the so that this can be moved with an edge that's not in yet. More green and whites. I'm looking for an infestation of green and whites. There's one over here. So I'll move this in. And green and white. Find another one. Right over here. And then we move this in. One more green and white. Got to be over here. Yep, over here. Wrong side and double turn. Right over here. Okay, so now this is it. So now we want to move this into its proper center. Let's find it over here. Here it is right here. So move it up like this so these centers match. Move this in and then move this back down. All right, so this positioning shouldn't be the huge challenge for you. If it is, practice moving the cubes around. Anyway, yellow and green, there's a bunch over here. So let's move this into position. We want to make sure that there's no, quote, parity situation. Like this one doesn't quite fit. It's the wrong way. So we're going to move this out, line this up here, double turn, and just move it in. Okay, so now we have these edges in, and you'll find that we have all edges where they need to be. These two need to be swapped because this yellow shouldn't be by this white. So turn, turn, turn them around, and just get that cross. Now that we have that, we put the corners in. Corners are RIDIRDs, so put this right below where it's supposed to be. Green, red, and yellow, which is here. Yellow, red, and green. Then just do RIDIRD, and you may have to do that multiple times. Anyway, here's this one. Let's move this where it's supposed to be over here. Now you can do R-I-D-I-R-D like crazy. D, R-I-D-I-R-D, R-I-D-I-R-D. And you can keep doing that as long as it's below where it needs to be. But I encourage you, at some point in your cube solving career, move beyond that. So here's another one. This one is going to go over to here. And this one just happens to be okay with an R-I-D-I-R-D. I'm always amazed at VCube's ability to move around. And now this one over here. And I'm just going to put this corner in. Okay, so what you have now is you have the first layer. Layer 1 is done. Now, layer 2. Here's my suggestion. On all subsequent layers, I suggest you put these in and then you put the center in. The reason being is that the technique that I showed you, when you put a center in, you will not affect the edges. But if you put the edges in, you will affect the center. So if you put the center in first and then the edge, you're just going to knock a center out. If you put the edge in first and then the center, you will not knock the edge out. It's as simple as that. What we're looking for is something like this. You can see that this edge is already in. What you're going to do with the second layer is you're going to do algorithm number 1, the one that moved this to here, where that's going to be on the front side. So over here, let's look for the white and red. The other white and red, let's see if it's up here somewhere. Now oftentimes you're going to easily find them there. If you don't, that's okay. It means it's over along here somewhere, the white and red. So let's just move on. Red and orange. Yellow rather. Red and yellow. So here's a red and yellow. Does this go down here? And the answer is yes. You can see if I move this over here, this fits very nicely with the red and yellow. So I'm going to move this down with algorithm number 1. This goes down to here, just like this would go down to here. Line it up with the proper center so it goes to the right side. U, R, U, I, R, I, U, I, F, I, U, F. And there it is. So next, how about yellow and orange? Yellow and orange, is it here? And it's going to be amongst here, so it appears to be here. Now, is this the right one? And the answer is no, because this one belongs up here. It doesn't go down here. You can tell because that's where it goes when you turn it. Do we have another yellow and orange? And the answer is at the moment, no. So I'm going to move on for a second. Orange and white is already in. White and red is white and red up here. And it's not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start looking for the pieces over here. Here's white and red. Does this belong here? And the answer is no. I can tell because this red is not coordinated with the proper center. So this has to be up here. What I'm going to do then is let's take this whole corner and flop it up to here. And that we can do just by that same algorithm. This is algorithm number 1 that I'm doing. And I'm just trying to get that up to here. So these are not the difficult layers. So this white and red, if lined up here, this is going to come down to here. So I'm going to do the left-sided version of algorithm number 1. This red and this white will come down to here. UI, LI, U, L, U, F, UI, FI. And now that's in over here. Red and yellow, we've got yellow and orange. Did it happen to come up to here? And the answer is no. So it's got to be around here somewhere. Right over here. So this is yellow and orange. Does it belong here? And yeah, this actually belongs down here. You can tell because when I line it up here, this is upside down. So what I need to do is I need to move this up here. Now, how am I going to do that? Because I don't want this to change positions. Well, I'm not using these top layers, right? So I can move this wherever I want. So now that I have it here, this isn't in, I'm going to take all of this and move it up to here. Now when I say all of this, it means all these are going to act as one. When I was putting these in, I was actually moving this entire section down here, but only caring about this. So let's move this out. U, R, U, I, R, I. This is ways of moving centers without changing your corners, because we already have that. Now let's find the yellow and orange up here somewhere, which is right here. And this is going to come down to here. Now in reality, this whole thing, this whole edge unit is going to come down to here. We only care about this one. U, R, UI, RI, UI, FI, U, F. Okay, so now that's it. How about over here? This is in, and here, this is in. So we have all of these little edge pieces in. Now we're going to do the center pieces. Now the center pieces is using that algorithm that I was talking about. What you need to do is you need to look for them up here to start off with. So what red pieces can go into here? Well, they're going to be the red pieces that are over here. So here's one. Well, this is already over here, so it's not going to be this one. But this one can go here. So this is on the left side. It's going to be L, FI. Now remember, it's this one because you put this one in over here. And we're dealing with this bottom layer here. So FI, RI, F, LI, FI, R, F. The overall result is you put that over there. All right? How about this guy? This is going to come not over here. That's already used. And this is already used. How about this? Nope, this is already used over here. So we're going to move on because we don't have anyone else up here. How about here? Orange. Well, we've got these two. Now here's what I'm going to do. I got 3 over here actually. And that's already in. Okay. What I'm going to do is, as long as I isolate layers, I can put multiple ones in. So I'm going to put both of these into here. So this will move down, and this will move down. Okay? Now you can tell the ones that are the layers that I moved out because you can see it here. I'm now going to take this bar, turn it to the side, and now move this down. Like so. Now I'm going to move this back and bring these guys back in. I'm not going to say the algorithm anymore. You're welcome to do that if you want. This comes back up, and this comes back up. Now that I've done that, I'm now going to put this back in by turning it again to an FI, then turn that R up, and then back to an F. So the overall effect is these two are put in. Now I can keep following suit. Now I can put in these two. As long as I don't move it to a plane that that is affected by these. So I'll move this one in, and I'll move this one in. So these two are in. You can see the different planes that I used. I'm going to move this off to the side, like so. Now I got to move this down, and you can see we're safe. We're far away from these guys. So I'll move that down here safe. Now I'm going to turn this back, and now put these layers back in. Not this one, but these two, because these were the original ones that I moved out. Now I got to move this one back, so I'm going to turn this back around, and up we go, and kersplat. So this is all fine. Now let's keep searching around. We can put this in, we can put these in. I like putting multiple ones in. So these two went in on this plane. See this over here? Move it out of the way, bring it down on this plane. Now don't get confused, these were the two that were put in first before this. So when I move it back, I'm putting these two planes back up and up. Now turn over here, and this comes back up. And this turns back down. So now we've got this over here. Again, I'm moving kind of fast, but hopefully you get the picture. This one goes into the middle, so this is going to be my, well, could be RI or LI actually. So this is here, get it out of the way, move it down. Move this back, bring this back up. And now I have to get this one back in, so put this out of the way, bring it here and down. Do I have another orange one? Not yet. So let's move on to the next one. All these are whites. How many whites can I put in? I've got 2 over here that I can use and 2 over here that I can use. So let's move both of these in, turn it to the side, and move this one out of the way. Now I turn it back, and I'll bring these 2 planes up. This, and then turn this back in, and bring it down. Typical center reduction. I've got these two that I can put in planes that are unrelated to each other. So these are in. It's going to be this plane or this plane that this comes down, depending on if I turn it this way or this way. Get it down out of the way, turn up, up, turn over here and up. And bring it back down. All right, anything else here? Well, this over here. Turn, turn, turn. And now bring it back, turn, 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 turn. Again, I'm going beyond the algorithms. You're welcome to continue with it though. How about here? This cannot come here because this is already taken. This is going to end up here somewhere. So let's keep moving on. Do we have anything more that we could use? How about this red? Yeah, sure. So RI U L FI, that was an F, not a U, R F LI, and then bring it back with a FI. Now just this one. Now we happen to have this over here. Now you're going to find that things are going to start opening up as you're wandering around, because some of them are down here that go on the wrong level. Okay, so now this is all in. So let's see, did I free anything else up? This is all in. How about another orange? Did I free another orange one up? Okay, that means if I don't have that, that means another orange is over here somewhere. So where is that going to be? Let's see where that might be. Well, what you can do is it's going to be on the top layer. So which one is it? Well, which one when I turn it is going to end up in this slot? 1, 2. It's this one. So this is the one, but it's up here. What we want to do is take what's up here and put it up here with the same exact strategy. So you know how I was putting things from here to here? I'm just going to take this, put it from here to here, and then move it here. So I'm going to take this, move it up here. So now it's up here. Bump it out of the way and continue moving it up from this plane. Bang. Now we turn this back down, and you can keep track of which planes you use by what you see here. This comes back down, turn, and this comes back over here and turn. The end result is you placed this from here to here, and now I can move it down here, and this can come to here. So move it down, bump it out of the way, move it down again. Bring it back, and now start undoing. Now we move this like so, and move this in. Okay, so now this is done, and let's see. We just have this. Now where can we find the correct white one? Is it this one or this? It's actually this one, because this one, well, actually it could be either one. Either one of these could suffice. So what I'm going to do is the same thing. This will move up here the same way. Bring this up here, put it out of the way, put it up again. Now turn and start bringing back down what you just put in. Turn and turn. I'm doing this multiple times because if the explanation isn't quite gelling, then you can just keep watching it multiple times. But I'm doing the same strategy. It doesn't matter which layer, I'm doing different layers each time, but it doesn't matter, the strategy is the same. Turn and turn. Okay, so now you have the second layer. So the second layer used algorithm number 1 to put these, and then this rolling technique to put the centers in.